Why will he do it? Because he's crafty. He's sneaky. It ain't sneaky to come to you and go, you ought to kill your neighbor. That's not sneaky. You go, come on, that's stupid. That God don't want me to kill my neighbor. Oh yeah, God does. You go, come on, God doesn't want you. I'm not that stupid. Crafty has nothing to do with him giving you blatant foolishness. Crafty is him giving you religion instead of relationship. So what he does to Eve is he says, if you'd start this religion where you eat this fruit, here's what God didn't tell you. You'd be more like God. Why don't you go try it? Your eyes will open. There's always just enough truth to what the enemy says. Because you go to that first service, read that 20th chapter, do all the things that you were told to do, and you do get this emotional euphoria that you pulled something off. You feel pretty good about yourself. That's that moment where you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the scales fall off your eyes and you go, oh, there was more. And God says, yeah, there was more, but I didn't want you to get it this way. I wanted you to get it by eating from the tree of life. I wanted to drop those scales off your eyes my way, not your way. Now it's all about your way. Now it's all about your performance. Now it's all about your religion. Now it's all about your works. The enemy had presented the case that there was more to be had. Eve does not eat out of rebellion. She really eats out of a desire to be more like God. I'm not trying to take her completely off the hook. But let me tell you, if Adam had been reinforcing every day in Eve that she was already like God, I don't believe this trick that the enemy uses on Eve would have worked. The reason he doesn't go to Adam with this is not because Adam's smarter, but because Adam was there when he was fashioned by God out of dirt. And it's a lot harder to trick Adam into thinking he's not like God when Adam looked around and there wasn't anybody else. He pulls in breath and looks around and God goes, don't look around, son. It's just you and me. And Adam goes, all right, yeah. It's just you and me. It's really hard now for the serpent to come up to Adam and go, you're not like God. Because Adam's going to go, look, there ain't nobody else like God but me. It would have even been tempting then for Adam to go, not even she's just like God. I was here first. So the enemy doesn't go to Adam, he goes to Eve because no one has reinforced in her who she is. There is such a danger in us failing to reinforce the covenant of God's grace. This is why we cannot really exhaust teaching grace. Because people are so predisposed to go back into religion that if you don't keep teaching grace and keep teaching the finished work, they will go back into performance thinking it's righteous. They'll go back into doing, thinking that they can achieve something with the Father. Just like we said last night, they'll go thinking that there's a promise they could have based upon their own performance. We have to reinforce their identity or they're going to turn to performance naturally. So look at how Adam is a failure at reinforcing his wife's identity. So God steps in. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. I will put enmity between you, or he says this to the serpent, sorry. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, you shall bruise his heel. I like the New King James usage of capital S on seed, capital H on his, because Genesis is speaking way out the timeline. Eve thinks, she's a lot like us. Sometimes we think that every word's going to be fulfilled right there, or sometimes it's way down the road, sometimes it is right there. Eve thinks this is her next kid, or one of her next kids, and she actually names Seth, which is, he's Redeemer, he's gotten. Cain is gotten. She thinks Cain's the one, then Cain turns out to be a murderer, so she has Seth and thinks, well, he's the one. She doesn't realize his name is Jesus and he's going to be born a long, long time from now. But when he comes, he's going to do some serious damage to that serpent. I love it how God redeems Eve with his words in the garden. Eve, don't worry. Through childbearing, you're going to turn this thing around. That's what Paul says to Timothy. Remember, that's where we opened. Through childbearing, you're going to turn this thing around. And so you're going to have a seed, and your seed is going to get it right. Now, here's where I want to make a connection into the New Testament again. And we're heading towards the end. Because I want to show you how the seed handles a eerily similar situation to his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandma. How does Jesus handle the same moment great-great-great-great-grandma Eve handled? Because he's a direct descendant of Eve. He comes out of the woman. He's birthed right out of her through generations. Matthew chapter 3, verse 16. I want you to find Jesus at the Jordan River with John the Baptist. When he had been baptized, Jesus came up immediately from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting upon him. And suddenly a voice came from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." What a moment. Let's make sure we understand what just happened. Jesus is baptized by John. He comes out of the water. The Holy Ghost shows up like a dove, rests upon Jesus, and the heavens thunder. And God says, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." There's an identity. Interesting, when Luke retells this story, Luke's version, Jesus hears it in Luke as, "You are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." I don't think God said it twice. I think the Gospel of Matthew shows you how it sounded to the crowd, and I think the Gospel of Luke shows you how it sounded to Jesus. That's pretty cool. God can speak, this is how I know, God can speak a corporate word right here this morning over this church, and you'll hear it as a word straight to your heart. And you'll think, wow, that was for no one else but me. Well, kind of. It was for everyone, but it was for you. All caps.